Okay, so into the thing. So in this innovations class, we do projects more so rather than classwork. And it's kind of a free will kind of thing. You know, you pitch an idea to him, and he'll give you his feedback. You know, he's not going to tell you direct like, no, you can't do this unless your name's Nick Stahl. But he'll give you his constructive criticism, and he'll tell you where to go from it. So about mid-October, I had this idea to conduct a survey. I didn't want it to be a really long survey, just a question or two. So I just made this one simple question. It was, if there was something in your life you didn't have to deal with, what would it be? And I decided, well, let's open this up to the whole school. So during third hour one day, I went around the school, and I was just looking for anybody who would answer my question. And I was targeting, freshmen through seniors of varying genders just to get a really big variety of answers. So, I asked, the freshmen were kind of timid because, when a guy like me kind of walks up to you with a notebook and says, hey, can I ask you a quick question? It's kind of timid, but, it's their first month here at school. Big fat scary guys coming up to them. Anyway, there was a lot of answers that were like, I don't get enough sleep, waking up in the morning, too much homework, stuff like that. And that was a good majority of the answers. But a smaller percentage were like a little bit deeper, as they had struggled with weight loss, or having the correct diet, or finding people to hang out with. But then there was one student. The approach was obviously no different. I didn't know the student all that well. I knew of them, but I didn't know them all that well. So I walked up to him and I said, I asked my question. If there was something in your life you didn't have to deal with, what would it be? And they looked at me and they said, I wish I didn't have to deal with my crippling depression. And I got taken aback a little bit because I'd gotten all these answers about homework and waking up in the morning and just kind of like minuscule stuff like that I wasn't quite sure how to react. So I just said, okay, thank you. And it kind of opened my eyes to something. We at the school have a lot of awareness of this mental illness and depression kind of stuff, from like the toilet talks in the bathroom. It says on there that studies show 1 in 5 students in the schools have mental illness or depression. So out of these, I surveyed 39 people. And out of these 39 students, only one of them was openly admitting to having a depression. Now, if we were to round that up to just one person to 40, 8 out of those 40 students would have depression or mental illness. Now, I'm not looking for anybody to come, just coming up to you and asking you one question. I'm not expecting you to tell me your problems or anything like that. But I would just like for people to know that they should not be ashamed of their, illness. Because it's not like they woke up one morning and just said, hey, let's go get depression or let's go get anxiety. Another reason they probably shouldn't be ashamed of it, because they're not the only one. If there was a room of 100 people, just in general, 100 people, 18 of them would have a mental illness, but only 7 of them would be open enough to admit it. If you take that to the national level, it's 18%. 18% of people would have mental illness. Taking that to the national level is 42.6 million people with a mental illness. Now, mental illness and depression does not care who you are. It has no bias. There was a distant family member of mine. She wasn't all that close to us. She lived far off and was kind of ashamed of her past and where she came from a small town in Minnesota. She lived in Texas with her husband and her 2 kids. They were a middle to upper class family. They started their own business and everything was happy. The children were just perfect. Gifts from God, no problems at all. Husband, he's a great guy. But everything seemed to be going good, except her anxiety and depression kind of had other plans for her. So just about 5 summers ago, she took her own life. It doesn't care who you are. It's going to happen. That's why we need awareness of this. So what I'd like to leave you with right now is, for the students in here, and even the adults, this can happen as well. Let's say, just from the student perspective here, you're laying in bed. It's 10:30 on a Wednesday night, you got school tomorrow morning. You just put your phone down, you just got done playing Fun Run or something like that, and you're charging it and you get your alarm set and you're ready to go to bed. Okay, let's go to bed. So you just set it down, you just close your eyes and you hear the vibration of your phone. And you have an idea, so who's texting me right now? What's this? So you pick it up and you see one of your friends texted you and said, hey, well, I don't know how much I want to do this anymore. And you ask, well, you don't want to do what? And they ask you, or they say to you, I don't know how much I want to live anymore. Now you have three options here. Your first option is to just totally ignore the text and just set it back down and go to sleep. Your second option is to say, I'm sorry, I can't help you, suck it up, and try to get some sleep and hope for the best. Your third option, however, is to talk to them. Talk to them. Let them talk to you, listen, give open opinions. Don't let there be time frame of when somebody can talk to you. Because talking to somebody and listening could be just an astronomical difference in their life. One last story here. There was a man, I can't quite remember where he was living, but he had just moved to this town and didn't know anybody. His mother died just recently and he was new to this town, knew nobody. So he was feeling suicidal and says, there's no point of living. So here he sits on the edge of this bridge, and some police officers showed up. And this one man in particular asked him and tried to comfort him with anything he could think of. Do you have any family here? No. Do you have any friends here? No, I'm new in town. So just as this man was running out of options, he brought up the NFL. He asked, so what's your favorite football team? And the man kind of looked over at him, his eyes lit up. He goes, well, I like the Washington Redskins. So they continued to talk about this football team and their upcoming opponents and the past results from the season. And this man started to get happy, started to smile a little bit. And although being emotional still, this officer reached out his hand and said, can you grab my hand? And this man kind of turned reluctantly, and the police officer slowly engaged him and just slowly picked him up and set him over the edge and said, you're here, it's okay, we got you. So talking to somebody and trying to relate to them can make an astronomical difference in their life. And who knows, you can even maybe save a life. Thank you.